everybody. It's Broadcast Team Alpha. I'm Nori Love. My co-host is Tom Schaefer, and we have an amazing guest for you today. You know, we're all about cutting-edge conversations, cosmic conversations, and exploring the quantum possibilities. So, Edgar Casey, Seth, Basher, Cryon, Abraham, these are only some of the great people of service who open as a channel to higher consciousness and bring light and information through. Our guest, Souli Yates, was born into an artistic household. Both of her parents were artists, and Souli, at a very young age, pursued her own form of art through dance. When she was a teenager and met with some contrast, she found her movement and her dancing as almost a therapy. And later, Souli enrolled in Awakening Your Light Body with Lita D'Alverde, the School of Living Light. And Souli is now an advanced channel. She's an amazing person. She's a beautiful person who lives in the UK, and I'm just so honored and grateful to have Souli here today. And maybe, just maybe, she'll bring through the collective consciousness that she channels. Hello, Souli, welcome.
Hello, Nori. Hello, Tom. It's lovely to be here. Thank you for inviting me.
So good to have you. So good to have you. So, we mentioned your dancing, and I know your dancing was a very integral part of your life when you were younger. And I know everything that I have done up until now makes me who I am and helped me to arrive at where I am. So how do you feel the dancing has impacted you or brought you along? What's so special about that?
Well, it's interesting. I kind of found my way into dance because at the time my parents didn't think I was going to be academic, bless them. You know, this kind of idea that you have any limitations on you as a child. But I found my way into dance because they saw that I had some kind of sense of rhythm and movement. And it wasn't necessarily initially my choice, but it was obviously where I needed to be, because I did find an amazing expression through dance. I was very shy, incredibly shy, but I was able to express myself in a wordless way, which was just amazing, absolutely amazing. So it was a way of letting loose, really, and expressing all those emotions. And when I was little, I used to put a record on, 12-inch in those days, showing my age. And I just used to dance around the house, just for the whole time, and I could do it all day long. So yeah, it was, yeah.
So, for me, I think dancing, like art, is something that touches our soul. It's something that ignites our soul and helps our soul come through us. So that makes sense to me that you did that. And what inspired you to go to the light body class?
Oh, after a long journey through leaving dance, coming back to dance, suffering from a brief bout of depression, and then finding my way through that. It was much later in life, actually. I think I was in my 20s, mid-20s, and I was getting to that stage where I was trying to discover who I was. I really had a sense that there was something other to life, right from the word go, and that's why I chose dance. I think, well, that's why dance chose me as a form of expression of that. And yes, when I left dance school, I started to get aware of things like Reiki. I mean, the first thing that happens when you're awakening is something appears in your conscious awareness, like, for instance, Reiki, and you start to see it everywhere. It was getting out of the situation that I was in. It kind of snapped me out of it. It was like a switch coming on. The light came on again. Thank goodness. And thank goodness it wasn't for too long a period that I was there. But I know now that that was kind of like igniting the journey for me. And from that point, having been in that deep hole, it was almost like I am never going back there again. So it was kind of discovering how to not go there again, if that makes sense.
Absolutely.
So things started appearing. I went to the Festival of My Body and Spirit, and in between dancing jobs, I'd leaflet there. I worked for 18 months as a receptionist in between dancing jobs again, at a natural health centre in South London, and learned all about the different therapies. Eventually became a Reiki master, and then that was my journey. And at these festivals, a leaflet kept appearing, and I really liked the look of it. It was beautiful image in the front. And I kept reading it, and Awakening Your Light Body, and I had no idea what it was about, absolutely none, but it just fascinated me. And 3 years later, having this leaflet kept appearing, mysteriously dropping out onto the floor, or I'd be going through something and it would appear. It was like, okay, I don't know what this is, but I feel really drawn to doing it, and I enrolled, and my goodness, what a game changer. What a game changer. I stayed at that school for 3 years and just absorbed everything. I did Awakening Your Light Body, and I did courses beyond that. There was Ascension 1, 2, and 3. There was Radiance, Vision, and of course channeling, opening to channel. And there were 3 sections to that, 3 parts to that, to advanced channeling. And I've used it ever since. It's been a part of my life, and I would never be without it now.
That's amazing.
The truth is we can all channel, but it's been kind of, the channel has been awakened within me, if that makes sense. The connection has been awakened within me, and it's a part of my daily life now. It really is.
Amazing. So you mentioned when you were awakening, so you were like awakening out of that depression, then things started coming to you. So just like dance picked you, it seems like the channeling and the schooling and the education picked you too, because it kept coming back up and crossing your path.
Absolutely. It was like the universe saying to me, oh, now I realise the beings were like going, oi, this here, this is what you need to do. And I had to listen.
That's
and thank goodness I did.
So when you say channel, what does that really mean? Does that mean that like there's like a column that opens up and you connect with the higher consciousness, or?
That's a really good question, and the beings of light would give you an analogy that would explain it, but actually it's probably something other than we can even understand at a conscious level. They keep saying that if we were able to communicate the actual science of it all, it would be like teaching quantum mechanics to a 4-year-old, or quantum physics to a 4-year-old. But they give you analogies which give you an idea. So the analogy would be that you are opening up centers that kind of is a way of them connecting, and that's why whenever they meditate they say keep the back of your head, neck and shoulders open, because that's how they kind of communicate. And it is, they give the analogy of a channel, of a way through the astral directly to the higher realms. But of course it might be something completely other than that. It might be that it's within you that they're connecting, but there's kind of an easy way of describing it as this channel.
I see.
The information flows through.
And the first time that happened for you, what was that like?
It was funny actually, because you don't believe it for a long time. You kind of, ego's right there, because I'm not a trance channel. I don't disappear completely and then allow them to come through. And so many times I wish I could, so that the ego could get out of the way and let them get on with the information. But ego stays there. And when you first open to channel, it's like this the whole time, going, really? This is nonsense, And by practicing, you start to trust the information that comes through. And it's a long process, actually. And I practiced every day. And we had light buddies that we were paired up with on that course. And she became my friend for 20 years until she sadly passed away recently.
Oh.
But we would practice all the time. You know, I'd channel for her, she'd channel for me. And it's a constant process. And the more you do it, the more you trust it.
Yeah.
And there are still some times now where it happened the other night, actually, on my Zoom call that I have with my group, Heart Space. Some information came through and my ego, a question was asked and some information came through and my ego kind of went, you know, I don't know the answer to this. And it's kind of a process of going, and they soothe the ego and go, it's all right, we do. But there are times when it's not as smooth as others still now. But it's kind of it's a process of learning to trust, really.
That's amazing. And on a very small level, I feel like I call the jewelry that I make intuited, but it really isn't intuited. It's actually channeled, although I never considered myself a channel, because there were times when I would be making a bracelet and I would get the impression like, no, not that bead, not that bead. And every single time I didn't listen, Souli, the bracelet broke and all the beads fell all over. So because of the discomfort of that, I began listening. And then I would feel like, no, not that bead. And I'm like, are you sure? They're like, pink, the pink bead. And inevitably, when everybody gets their bracelets, they're like flabbergasted at the way that it feels. So I know it's something more than me. So very interesting. Now, when you channel, do you know who's going to come through? And
it changes. It depends. Sometimes it's obvious that an essence of the collective is coming through because there's a specific connection with the person you're channeling for, with that being of light or that angel or whatever. And then other times you're expecting an individual to come through and the collective come through. In fact, they only started to come through as a collective recently. And I think it was because I was working with a client and she went into overwhelm, excuse me, at the names of the beings that were coming through. It was like, and they retreated and thought, that's not what we want. That's not what we desire. We want to be here to assist everyone, absolutely everyone. And so then they started to come through as the collective, but it's still every now and then an essence of that will come through, a different element, or they call it essence of that consciousness will come through.
That's amazing. That's amazing. And you mentioned your group, Heart Space. What is that and what goes on there and how can people find out about that?
It's a Facebook group, a closed Facebook group, and it's on it's on my Facebook page. Souli's Musings. You can connect to it through there. And it's very recent, but it's already become an amazing community. And my dream is that it's full of like-minded people who have this kind of space where they can communicate and chat. Yeah, so it's a community. My intention is that there will be people in there that can talk about what they're going through, what they're experiencing. And it was actually Kim O'Neill that suggested it when she came onto one of my Q&As that I do with the Beings of Light every now and then. And she said, well, you know, I was aware as you were talking that there are experiences that I shared with other people in the group, and I thought I was on my own. You know, what would it be like if you had a community? So he sparked the idea within me, and it's already buzzing. I mean, there's only a few people in there at the moment, but my intention is, and I feel energetically that it's a large community. So yeah, and it's just, we have a live Zoom the first Wednesday of every month where we can have a Q&A with the Beings of Light. We had a group healing this week that was extremely powerful. And then I pop on as well other times during the month and answer questions, or I've got the Beings of Light to come on and answer questions.
Yeah, I have a question. So
yes?
do Do you help people who are interested in channeling themselves, or is this a kind of a thing where people come and they ask you to channel answers regarding their life's questions or personal issues, or is this something where you teach people other people how to channel as well?
Both. I do channeled readings, so you can come with, or channeled. There's one lady who's doing a session of a group of 9 sessions with me, and interestingly enough, she is learning to channel. She has learned to channel, and I'm assisting her through that process during the 9 sessions. But yes, initially it was just doing channeled readings, and then I did a course which I'm hoping to launch again soon, called Connection with Your Guides. And again, spontaneously, people started to open to channel on that, because it is true, Norrie, we can all channel. All of us, we all do, in those moments of inspiration. So it is a question of kind of relaxing into the knowing of that, if that makes sense. And then being in a space where the beings can activate that within you and clear a space in you. Because the best thing to do is to, for my mind, is to go through the astral. And again, this is an analogy, through the astral directly to the higher source, because I think that there's no, for my mind, there's no benefit really being in the astral and communicating on that level. That's just my personal opinion. So did that answer your question?
Yeah.
Yeah, I also have another question, then a follow-up. So I think what I'm getting from you too is this, that it's a trust factor. Because as Norrie knows, I wrote a book that some people have told me was a download. Now I've had a kind of an ambivalence about it. It's like, well, maybe it could have been, or maybe I'm just being creative. And so I've actually kind of a little bit of doubt about that. And then a couple of months ago, I was at a friend's house, and she happened to be speaking to a psychic. Psychic didn't know anything about me, and the psychic says, well, my guides are telling me that she didn't know anything about me or the book, the first book. She goes, my guides are telling me that you need to write the second book. And I was like, okay, wow. I'm kind of curious about this trusting. How do you know you're not you're not getting a bad phone line to the wrong group? Or how do you, these trust factors, help explain that a little bit.
Another good question. It's discernment. One thing that you learn when you open to channel is they're always talking about discernment. And that's another reason why at the beginning it's a kind of a rocky road initially, because you're constantly either second guessing or thinking, oh, that was just me. That's just me. But you kind of learn through trial and error. There are sometimes when ego interferes, and still there is a potential for that. So it's always a question of using discernment. But you can feel it. Now I can feel it when it's the beings of light, when it's the collective. In fact, when you were talking about possibly bringing them in at the beginning of the show, I don't know if you felt it, Norrie. It was like this amazing energy came in, and it was like, yep, yeah, we're here. So it's discernment. It's discernment and allowing yourself to do it and make mistakes. And through making the mistakes, you learn what is where it's coming from. You learn whether it's ego. You sort of come to understand, oh, that's ego. And 9 times out of 10, if it's uplifting, if it's of benefit, and it raises your vibration, as in it makes you feel better, then it's going to be from the higher realms. And if it lowers your energy or makes you go, oh, then it's going to be ego. But again, it's trial and error.
I imagine this group setting helps people to kind of maybe confirm, am I on the right track? Is that what the group thing is about? Or getting cross-referenced by other people's experiences and kind of this group learning about how it's done?
Yes. The Heart Space, it's a place for people who I say it's for conscious travelers on this eternal journey to becoming, because we're all, some people call it ascension. I think I agree with that, ascension. And it's a place where you can express how you're feeling, what's coming up for you, and get a sense of being on the right path, and that you're not wrong, that's not something wrong with you, that this is what's happening to everybody. And within that, there is a potential to open to that, and therefore have the support with that as well. most of the people in the group at the moment are coaches and healers, so they already have a sense of connection and alignment. So they're halfway there already. Well, not halfway there, they're there already.
I'm going to join that group for sure. And interesting,
absolutely.
I would love that. I would love that.
So I went to one of Souli's Q&As, and that morning, okay, let me just back up. A million years ago, I knew I had to write this book. So I would always pray, please, help me write the book, help me write the book, help me write the book. One day I was driving from Maryland to Virginia, and literally on the highway, I had to stop the car. I had a tiny little notepad, and I got a downloaded book, not the one that I thought I was supposed to write, with stick figures and everything. And it's published, but that's another story. But that was like one of my first experiences. Then when I was opening to really being a healer, because I was a reluctant one, I would open my mind, right? I was in prayer, and then I would be guided. Say this to him. Okay, if you're in the burn trauma ICU, you're hurt right now, but if you use your mind and your heart, you can heal. Those are the messages that I would get to relay to these people. And I mean, I have chills because it's phenomenal how, but I went to Souli's Q&A, and that morning I was doing a hypnotherapy session where I kind of go into the zone there, and in the middle of the hypnotherapy session, Metatron didn't let me know he was coming and never really came in before, but he came in so big I started coughing. Mm-hmm. And then that day I went to Souli's group, which was not by coincidence, and then found out who my angels were as well. So it's amazing. And at first, because of being, in the southern part of the United States, and it's the Bible Belt, if you tell people you channel something, they immediately think that you're channeling the devil. But, my the other side of that coin is when you're in church and you channel the Holy Spirit, then it's okay. This is the same thing. It's love. It's pure light. It's pure consciousness, right?
Mm-hmm. Absolutely. Absolutely. And I love that download, both of you downloading the books. And it is pure love, and how anybody can, once you get a sense of it, once you feel it,
Oh, yeah.
And like I was saying before, that's how you discern whether it's information coming from the higher realms. Yes. And now when I channel like the other evening, I know when it's ego.
Yeah.
It's kicking and screaming at the back there going, oh, I don't know this information, help.
Right?
Yeah.
I've heard this. Tell me if this is because this is kind of a newbie question or something that I heard. And they said that now in this time of ascension, or the dawning of it, that we're kind of going into this whole phase right now, that there are people that think they're talking to, quote, love and light entities who are love bombing them, but who are ultimately going to fool them at some point and cause them harm. Is that a...
One thing that you learn when you start to channel the higher beings, all you feel is just pure love. I mean, you'll resonate with this, Norrie. My goodness, and maybe when I get them in a moment, you'll get a sense of that. There is no sense of, it just doesn't even enter my conscious awareness. There is no way, because apart from anything else, you are still there as a conscious being. You have your own choices, and that's something that they're always telling you. You have this wonderful, magical tool, which is choice. You can choose. And I would have thought that if there was a possibility of any kind of interference in that way, they would be steering you in a direction of feeling that you had no choice, and feeling that you were trapped, and feeling that you... So, I do understand that people believe in that, and that what the beings of light say, whatever you believe to be true will be true for you. And I'm not denying that there is that possibility of that element, but certainly when you connect with these higher realms, these high level beings, all I ever feel is overwhelmed with a sense of frequencies of love. And it's not the notion of the conditional love that we have as human beings, as humanity. You know, I'll love you if you do this for me, or I won't love you if you do that. It is unconditional, and that, I think I'm answering the question by realizing that's what it is. That's what I'm experiencing. So thank you, because you've clarified something for me in that question. Absolutely unconditional love, no conditions. And yeah, so I hope that's sort of,
well, I guess then what I'm kind of saying is trying to interpret it from a human perspective, where someone might deceive you, false hugs, and then down the road stab you in the back, is more of a human condition. But you're saying that these entities, if you're tapping into real love entities out there, that these entities are not going to bait and switch you at some point, that you're tapping into a real, it's not a bait, they don't play that game.
To be perfectly honest, I'm sort of listening to what you're saying here, and I'm seeing if there are any doubts there, because I want to answer it honestly. I want to answer it authentically. No, definitely not. And maybe I'm deluded. I don't think I am. I don't think I am, from the results that I've experienced from being with the beings of light. And whenever they've assisted me, it's been spot on, absolutely spot on. And it's always directed me in a path that has been beneficial for me. It's never, ever, ever. And if I've steered wrong, it's because it's ego that's interfered and gone, don't do that, do this. And I've got to learn to realise, no, that's ego. That's not ego. I mean, that's not the beings of light, that's ego. So you're actually clarifying for me, and I'm so glad for that. Really, really glad.
This is something I heard.
It's making me more certain.
Maybe it was because of somebody else's negative energy or whatever. They were trying to sow doubt on this whole process, or sow doubt on people's ability to tap into this, and say, no, don't do it. You're going to wind up connecting to negative energies. They're going to bait and switch you. You're basically going to get damaged in the process, blah, blah, blah. And so maybe this is just doubt and negative junk that's been thrown out there to stop people.
Absolutely. Yeah. Sorry, I interrupted you there. It's stopping them connecting with their truth and their true power, because that's what the beings of light are about. They're about connecting you with your unlimited potential. Now that I can see would be scary, possibly, in some way. You know, that we're all connecting with our potential to create our lives from a place of love and from a place of realizing that we are all sovereign beings, you know. So yeah, I can see where that mentality is coming from. I can understand where that
almost like a jealousy.
Yeah.
So I would say look at the source of that information, right? So who is it coming from? Now, if that person tried to open to entities, guess what they're going to get? They're going to get exactly what they're speaking and intending.
Absolutely. Right? Absolutely. What you focus on, you create as well. And that's one thing about opening to channel, is that you are, again, it's an analogy, you're going straight through the possible astral realm, the weightier kind of not quite passed on, and you could be talking to your Uncle Fred, who was a trickster in the earth plane, and he's still a trickster there. You go straight through that, and what happens, they explain it like it's reaching up and reaching down, and when you make that connection, it's almost as if, and they don't like the word protection, they say that that's suggesting that there's something to fear. You're transparent, you've made that connection with that higher realm, and therefore I get a sense of talking to you that there isn't any way that that can be interfered with, because it is pure. It is pure unconditional love. And indeed, and in the end, it's the consciousness that we are, the collective. We're all there in that higher realm. We're all there on our higher level of consciousness with the collective. So it's a higher level of who we are. And that is what they're about. They're about connecting you, empowering you by connecting you with your own light, the light that you are within, and therefore finding true and lasting empowerment. So yeah, I'm grateful for that question.
Well, we've got to remove a lot of these blocks that are there. That's just erroneous information that gets out there. Got to strip this junk away. It's like, people have a lot of superstition. Here we are in this 21st century, and people have superstition and will still cling to a lot of medieval beliefs. I do work in a lot of ufology, and I see out on the net people talk about those are all demons. Here we are in the 21st century, so I hear some of this stuff, and sometimes it almost makes sense. And then what you're saying is you're tapping into entities that by their very nature are love. And I say to myself, well, then, okay, if they're how can they convey love if they have some sort of negative connection? How could you be logically register? And I'm like, okay, this is junk I heard. Now I can toss it out. So,
no, but the one thing that's interesting is you sort of talk about entities. I see them as it's consciousness. It's pure consciousness, pure conscious awareness. So I don't get any sense of entity. I think entity, and the word entity is kind of a lower vibration, if that makes sense. Whereas when you tap into the higher realms, it's frequencies. You're connecting with frequencies of unconditional love. And as you go lower down, then there's the possibility of entities. So I don't see them as entities at all. And I don't, because to me, I don't know if this word resonates with you, but there seems to be a negative connotation with entities. I don't know if that's...
Well, I merely use the word, maybe I could say personages. Is that a better way to speak of them? Oh yeah, that's just my ignorance, but I'm not.
No. Yeah.
So I see that if someone is speaking to you, then there are persons. I guess that'd be the best way to say these persons are speaking to you. If that makes any kind of sense.
Yeah, no. I call them beings of light or angels.
Okay, beings. Okay,
Yeah.
I think angels connotates a more positive view, and just like John D'Souza said to us, here's an ex-FBI agent who's talking about this, that still quiet voice inside of you will let you know. If you're looking at connecting to higher consciousness and all of a sudden you feel something cold or heavy or doesn't feel good, you go, no, not that. And, we have the power to say, no, not that.
You point up a very good point, Nori, and I think what may be in the background here is this perception of channeling as a loss of control, as a sort of seizure that overcomes the person that's channeling. And you just brought up a very good point that the person who's being the channel actually is still in control of their own self.
Absolutely.
I think it's not a false rumor or false connotation that you're going to go into some sort of, I'm in a channeling trance, I can't control it. The demons have got me,
No, you are in complete control. And what's so much control that sometimes the channeling won't come through because you're blocking it. You're going,
So there's a lot of false assumptions about this whole thing, and a lot of what I'm asking kind of from the what we call our crayon viewpoint. Get the crayons out for people, because we're trying to bring these kind of topics to people that may not be familiar with them at all. And I'm kind of a neophyte in this arena, so I don't have a problem asking the crayon questions. So thank you for clarifying some of this. Has really actually brought some relief to me about some lingering junk that I've heard. So
excellent.
Thank you very much.
Beautiful. So when it began coming through me, in my mind back then, I was praying. The only thing I ever wanted to do when I was little was to be a vessel for God's love. So I came at it from that viewpoint and from that carved in stone belief. So when that began happening to me, tears would roll down my face while I was doing it every single time. So I started telling people, when spirit rolls in, I'm going to cry, but it's okay. You know, and then eventually I don't cry anymore, but it's that beautiful. It's like the most beautiful music you've ever heard, the most magnificent sunset you've ever seen, right? I mean, it's like whale song. It's just, amazing. So you want to bring them in?
Yeah, go on then. I'll just have a quick swig of water.
Yeah.
Maybe you'll get a sense, Tom, of something.
Okay, great.
They'll probably talk you through it, actually.
Okay.
I don't know what they're going to say, but they'll probably help you through that.
Okay, great.
Yay.
I've been looking for guidance on a lot of this. This is because I've had some stuff happening, and I'm trying to find my way through. So.
Excellent. They're excited. I can feel that they're like, yes. Greetings, beloved ones. Dear darling ones. The notion that there could be anything other than love for this channel is, well, you have clarified for her, beloved one. You have clarified for her that there is not even an iota of harm intended from the higher realms. Now, if you will allow, beloved ones, we will give you a sense of this love. Would you allow this? And remember, the choice is yours entirely. So for a few moments, and all the audience may do this as well, for it will benefit all, should you choose to do so. It is a free will universe, beloved ones. You have the choice. You always have the choice. So we are transmitting to you now, beloved ones. So in this space, this expanded space that we have created for you, take a few deep breaths. And as you breathe in, imagine breathing in light, just by intention. And as you breathe out, imagine all the tension within you, all that no longer serves you, melting away. Get a sense of your feet upon the ground. Get a sense of Mother Earth beneath you. Feel the support there. And for a moment, imagine that there is a radiant sun above your head. And it is showering down photons of frequencies of unconditional love. You are standing beneath or sitting beneath a shower of light. Using your imagination and suspending any and all disbelief. Bask in this light, beloved ones. Feel it coming down through your physical form, through your chakra system, through your energy systems, bathing and basking every part of you, right down to your quantum particles. And allow it to pass down through into the earth. And at the same time, get a notion of being connected with the earth via roots, as if you are a tree. And allow the nourishment of Mother Earth, that beautiful energy, the supportive mother, to come up through your physical form, through your energy systems in a beautiful harmonious dance with cosmic energies, and passing out into the cosmos. Breathing into this space and getting a sense of your groundedness, a sense of your connection. Now for a moment we will transmit to you, beloved ones, so that you get a sense of the unconditional love that we are, that you are in truth. There are many frequencies now that are being anchored onto the earth plane by the light workers. And it is easier for you to get a sense of this. For a moment, if you will allow, we will remove for a moment anything that will distract you from the sense of this unconditional love. Dropping by intention from your head to your heart, where you know. Get a sense of this love, beloved one. There is nothing that can harm you within this space, but that you believe it to be the case. And there, beloved ones, is the rub. There is nothing to fear except fear itself, beloved ones. Breathing into this space, we will now transmit to you the frequency of joy. And is it not wonderful that the bells have started to peal out, beloved ones? Ah, beautiful time. So bathe and bask in these frequencies, beloved ones, and take them into your very core by intention. Celebrate this connection, beloved ones. Celebrate. You are on your journey home, and you are all supporting each other in this journey. It is truly wonderful. We are here to assist you. We are here to assist you should you choose to connect with us, beloved ones. And the choice is always yours. Wonderful. So, feeling your physical form again, moving your body if you need to. When you are ready, open your eyes.
So the cat is a barometer because the cats love this energy. That's why your cat showed up, Tom.
Indeed they do. Indeed they do. For they are indeed unconditional love incarnate.
Tom, do you have a question for them?
I don't know about a question, but maybe a confirmation of my role, or something, some kind of present tense guidance, something that maybe they could tell me about what's going on in my world, some kind of a little direction, if you will.
Yes, indeed, beloved one. You have around you, as this channel is seeing an image, if you will, of this light that you are. But there is much confusion surrounding you. Perhaps misinformation, perhaps misunderstandings. Now, this is not a judgment. This is the human condition. Because there is much out there that is a misunderstanding of the truth, if you will. So, we do not judge in the higher realms, beloved one. You have that light. You have that light, and we are assisting you to connect with that light which you are now with transmissions. Do you feel that, beloved one? You get a sense of that. So what we would suggest to you is just keep connecting by intention to that light, where you find it in your physical form. Just keep breathing into that space and allowing that light to shine out and almost dismantle all the misinformation surrounding you. And just by intention. And as you do that, there will be little elements of truth that will be able to make their way through to you. And you will connect with what you know to be true from your heart center. This will never be discovered through the head. The mind will assist you in certain ways, but you will never arrive at it through thought, if that makes sense. It is through a knowing within your heart center where the true intelligence is, where the true knowing is. And so by being in that space, in meditation, in thought, even in a moment while you are doing something else, for a moment, have the intention of dropping to the heart. And from that space, asking, is this true for me? Does that make sense? And does that answer your question?
Not particularly, but it is good. It sounds like good guidance. I mean, to just try to remove some confusion, and I guess the idea is to just keep seeking.
Yes, indeed. The thing is, beloved ones, is one thing we are not soothsayers. We will not tell you what colour underwear you're wearing, for instance. We do not do party tricks. What we do is we assist you to come to a recognition of your own truth. We may guide you in a direction if you ask the right questions. And if you ask the right questions, we will answer them. But until you ask the right questions, we are here to assist you to find them within yourself, where they all reside. You have all the knowledge you would ever desire within you, beloved one. And it is our desire that you connect with that. Does that help?
Part of it is I don't know exactly what the questions to ask. Don't even.
And that is the human condition, beloved one. And that is why we are here. If you reach up, if you connect with us, and again, that is an analogy. We always use symbolism and analogy to represent a truth. But if you reach up to us, if you call on us to assist you, we would be honoured and privileged to assist you to connect with whatever, with the right question. With the right question to ask.
Okay.
One thing we will say is that you are on a path that is beneficial to you, and you are on a straight path to where you need to be of immense benefit to all. Now, does that help, beloved one?
Absolutely.
Wonderful.
That's kind of what I'm looking for, a little confirmation about moving in the right direction. Yeah.
Just keep taking those steps, one in front of the other, and you are in the right direction. There is no distraction in that way. You are absolutely in the right direction, beloved one.
I guess the phrase might apply as seeing through a glass darkly is kind of where I've been.
Beautiful. Well, then you have the awareness there. And awareness is the most wonderful tool that you have on the earth plane. And light workers more and more and more are expanding into the awareness that they are. Awareness is all. And you already have, and you already are awakened to that. So just follow your awareness, beloved one.
I've had a sense of something larger, but can't quite get a grasp on what that means. A larger purpose, but I still haven't been able to tap into what that.
What we recommend, beloved one, is the fact that you have recognized that you have clarity that that is the case. Drop into that, beloved one. Because you will not arrive at the answer to that question by trying. It is more a question of allowing it to emerge from within you. Does that make sense?
It's kind of like thinking about breathing. You don't really think about it. You just breathe.
Absolutely.
That's good.
Absolutely. Beautiful. Beautiful.
May I ask a question?
Of course, beloved one.
There's a lot of things going on that people are focusing on at this point in time. Can you just tell us about the beauty of this time instead of looking at the other part?
Thank you, beloved one. Thank you, thank you, thank you. To assist you now with transmissions to recognize, you are already there, Nori. You recognize this beauty of this place at this time. Just the sound of the bells in the church just up the road there. Get a sense of the resonance of those bells. The beautiful frequencies there that touch you deep within. And that is just an element of the beauty. There is so much beauty surrounding you that will awaken that love within you, the love and the light that you are. Nature, your beautiful cat, your beautiful four-legged friend. Do you not get a sense when you connect with that animal of something, and maybe this is something to recognize, when you connect with the animal, connect with something even deeper that that animal is assisting you with. A recognition and an awakening of the love that is within you, crying to be released, so that your heart opens and so that you see the beauty all around you, wherever you are, whatever your situation. There is always something that has beauty there for you to see. And when you notice the beauty, you see more and more and more. Witness a blade of grass. See the beautiful, exquisite colours. And as you dive into that blade of grass, you are diving into a universe of beauty. And so nature has much to teach you. Nature has all to teach you. These magnificent guardians that stay and watch you through centuries and centuries. They just watch, they absorb. They are there to assist you, communicate with them, just by intention, without expecting anything in return. And then you will find that you will receive something magnificent. Everything here around you is set up for you to gain, in benefit from. There is much love in absolutely everything around you, beloved ones. And it is for you to notice. Just notice. No more. That will open the door.
Beautiful. Oh my goodness. This feels so good to, yeah, it feels so good.
Did that answer your question, beloved one?
Oh, absolutely.
Because we do have a tendency to go off on a tangent, but they are always very necessary, and they are actually where you are intending to go, if that makes sense.
Yes, and I love that. The more that we look at beauty, the more things we see that are beautiful. It's like we open our vision even wider. Oh my goodness. Do you have any messages for people who may be watching, or?
Trust. Trust. Use discernment in things. When you start connecting with your heart, when you start dropping from your monkey mind, as they call it, from that chatter, that constant chatter, that in fact is taking you either into the past or the future. And generally the future is bleak because it comes from your experience of the past. So if you then allow yourself in some form of prayer or meditation to take yourself into your center and be there even for a moment, eventually you will get a sense of the presence that you are. And when you start to get a sense of that, you will know, and you will want more and more and more of it. So as the beautiful Eckhart Tolle said in his book, The Power of Now, absolutely. It is a constantly moving in your linear experience of time now, but you can find that still point. You can find that place within you where the presence resides, where you are that light. So just by practicing, by breathing into that space, taking time to be still if you can, and allow the chatter to happen, but become the observer of that. And it takes practice sometimes, but just practice, and that is all we ask you to do. Trust that you are that presence, that you are that light, and that you are already finding your way to that if you are not there, by being here, by listening to us, by giving us the space and the opportunity to transmit your truth, to reconnect you with your truth, and to ignite that light within you. So, beloved ones, you are all sovereign beings. You are all powerful beyond measure. There are those in your earthly experience that will tell you otherwise. We urge you to trust that you are powerful. And with that, beloved ones, we feel that we have shifted the perspective somewhat and the perception. And we feel that that is enough for now.
Thank you.
As we open a chink in the door, it is your choice whether you move in. And we are here for you if you do.
Thank you. Thank
You
you.
are so welcome. Thank you for this opportunity.
Thank you.
Honor. Thank you.
For now, beloved ones, namaste.
Namaste.
They always take a lot longer to go than they do to come in. It's like they jump in. And then like,
Well, they have to put their shoes on, right?
wipe their feet.
Yeah. Oh my goodness, Souli, thank you so much. And how can people reach you for channeling or sessions, or how can they reach you?
Via my Facebook page, Souli's Musings. I've got all my services on there, listed on there. They can have a channel reading with me or a series of channel readings. As I say, I'm hoping to launch my course, Connecting with Your Guides, which is a beautiful way of connecting with the energies and connecting with your connection, reconnecting with your connection, and eventually maybe even channeling. So I might launch that soon. So there's a possibility of that happening soon. Or you can book a series of sessions with me and discover what all of this is for you and what it means to you and where it can take you. I'm also a life coach, and I call myself an intuitive life coach, because obviously the channeling is there. I can't remove myself from the channel. It's a part of what I do. Again, Heart Space, beautiful community. Again, you've got nobody watching you to say, oh, what's that all about? And you can talk openly, and there are conversations within the community where you can discover more about who you are and where you're going and what that means to you. And there's a support system there. Every now and then I do Q&As as well, which I with the beings of light. So that's another way of connecting with me. I also, obviously, sorry?
And they're on Facebook.
They're on Facebook. Yeah, all of that's on Facebook. Yeah.
And we'll post updates on Broadcast Team Alpha. We'll post your Facebook page, and then when I see that you have things coming up, we'll definitely post them on our page, Broadcast Team Alpha.
Thank you.
Souli, you are just such a magnificent diamond light. I'm just so grateful to be in your presence today. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Souli. I appreciate it.
Thank you. And thank you, Tom, for your questions that, they always love questions that ignite a greater depth and a greater recognition. So,
wow, okay, great. Happy to oblige. I've got more dumb questions.
There may have to be part 2 to this then.
I absolutely think so.
Thank you. Thank you.
That brought some clarity to me as well, so I appreciate your being
wonderful.
tap into that. So that's great.
Brilliant, brilliant.
I think it's something I already knew too. It's like a confirmation of something I've already known. So that was good. Appreciate that big time.
Oh, no, thank you. Thank you.
Beautiful. So as always, we thank all of our viewers and our listeners for joining us today here on Broadcast Team Alpha with the amazing Souli Yates. And just be sure to keep checking on our Facebook page, Broadcast Team Alpha, for updates for Souli. Thank you so much, and we'll see you next time.